The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, aka the CDC, is a government entity meant to offer guidance on best practices in healthcare. But, yet again, they are culpable of the sin of child abuse. I want to talk a little bit about that today. So, let's not waste time, because kids need saving and protecting. The wicked flee when no man pursueth, but the righteous are bold as a lion. The information in today's episode will likely give you a combination of feelings. You're pretty much bound to feel sickened, sad, angry, or mortified. Maybe even a combination of them all. You have been warned. In late May, a TikToker who goes by the name Naomi, but is clearly a man, was celebrating something he called cow achievement. Have a listen to him while I provide some commentary.
Cow achievement. Trans women can indeed lactate.
Alright, so there's some insanity right from the get-go. When he uses that phrase, cow achievement, it makes me think of all the times I've interacted with pregnant women in my life so far. When my own mother was pregnant with my little brothers. When my wife was pregnant with my children. And various other women I've interacted with who were pregnant. I can't recall a single time when any woman who was pregnant or even not pregnant would have enjoyed associating herself with a cow in any capacity. That alone is a telltale sign that he's not a woman. And then the next part, of course, is a lie when he says trans women can indeed lactate. First of all, there's no such thing as a trans woman. We know that's not even a category of being. And we know that he's talking about men, and men cannot lactate.
Would follow the Newman-Goldfarb protocol, a medical protocol designed to help women induce lactation if they were not getting pregnant themselves.
Yes, it's a protocol to help women induce lactation, not men. He's not a woman.
I'm going to be a mother. That's in the works, in the process.
No, sir, you are not. You will never be a mother. You are not a woman. Therefore, you can never be a mother. It's impossible.
And part of that process is that I am working to induce lactation to be able to breastfeed our youngest child. Yeah, actually mommy Naomi. I've actually already successfully induced lactation.
Obviously, he's not going to be breastfeeding any child because men don't have breasts. They're not real, even if they do implant them or take hormones to make their chests fatty and larger. What's going on is he's wanting to attach a child to his chest. Disgusting.
I can actually make milk now.
Milk is indeed a generous word for what's coming out of his male chest. It is a hormone-laced pus. It's unnatural not because it's not meant to induce lactation. The protocol that he's using is definitely meant to do it in women. It's unnatural because it's coming out of the chest of a man. And if, I'm not going to go into this now, but if you all did a little bit of digging into this Newman-Goldfarb protocol and some of the medications that are being taken or used, a lot of them have not been approved, or there's no long-term studies to show what these substances can cause in newborns and infants who are feeding from these even the lactating mothers.
Which has been a very interesting and very cool experience. It's very biologically affirming too.
So yeah, look at how excited this guy is. I mean, this is the euphoria part of transgenderism, when they feel affirmed, they feel like they are passing, they feel like they are indeed the gender that they feel they are deep down. This delusion has tricked these people into thinking that good feelings are how you know you're getting better. Good feelings, this euphoric feeling. And they're not, of course, long-lasting, because we know that the rate of suicide in transgender individuals and these gender-deluded people is very high even after they transition. But anyways, he's very excited because he really thinks that this makes him more of a woman. He's just continuing to be deceived. And it's sad. It's sad to see this, in my opinion. This guy needs help. And the people who have lied to him, doctors, nurses, pharmacists, whoever allows this stuff to happen to these people who are mentally sick, those people have done more of a disservice, in my opinion, than anybody in this guy's life. Maybe his parents, maybe family members. God forbid, but I hope not any clergy in his life have done this and affirmed his delusions. But that's all I'll say on that. So that was Naomi. And I am of the very strong opinion that what he is doing to that child is abusive and poisonous. This next guy is from the UK and calls himself Mika. In this photo, he does, unfortunately, have a baby attached to his very male chest, and he calls what he's doing feeding. This tweet I'm showing here was part of a series of others that he posted after a backlash of him feeding the baby started online. It was noticed on a TV interview that he did that he was walking around his house dressed as a woman, of course. He was calling himself a mom, and internet users noted that he was washing a breast pump in his sink. Redux wrote up an article about him, and here's an excerpt from it. Quote, he says that the anti-trans hate he's received is a distraction from the actual issue he was interviewed on. He calls for solidarity in times of inflation and wage loss, but adds, adoptive mothers are mothers. Lesbian mothers are mothers, whether they birthed the child or not. Stepmothers are mothers. Trans women can be mothers. It's not up to a member of parliament or anyone else to march into a family and enforce what a child calls their parent. He continues in all capital letters, just leave queer families alone, as he rejects the comments he has read online that have called for his child to be removed from him. Minio Paluelo, I guess that's his last name, then lists a slew of issues that impact women and families and inserts himself into the issues of motherhood, saying, mothers are always judged for our choices, made to feel guilty for not being perfect, told we shouldn't be working or aren't working enough. Is this because trans women exist? Let me stop right there, because this man is obviously deluded. He's calling himself a mother, lumping himself in with women. He literally has deluded himself, convinced himself that he struggles with all the same things that women struggle with. That is insanity. This man needs mental help. So, same thing I said about the other guy. I am of the very strong opinion that what he is doing to that baby is abusive and poisonous. If those two aren't enough, listen to this third guy who calls himself Abby.
I've always wanted to be able to lactate. And today, my doctor, after my EKG results, said that she's feeling confident enough to start me on this medication.
Okay, so just like the Naomi guy, this guy's super excited at the prospect of being able to lactate. And again, I'm going to point out, the doctor, who is not doing her job correctly, she is condoning this, knowing the implications, knowing that there are no long-term studies on this hormone-laced secretion that she's going to cause to come from this man's chest that is going to be given to kids, potentially.
Reglan. And it has some serious side effects, but I'm only going to be taking it for 2 weeks, up to 3 weeks possible.
Quick note, all medications have side effects. All medications have potential undesired effects. In fact, any medication that induces lactation in men, that is a negative side effect.
So within 2 weeks, I should be lactating. The rest is on me. I'm going to have to pump and keep a supply.
So he's going to be spending the next 2 weeks focusing on pumping, doing things that women should be doing. He's going to be wasting his time. He should be using his time more wisely and getting therapy, getting spiritual help from anointed men and women of God that could help him get out of his delusions. He should be spending more time being the man that he was born as.
This is the tough part. I have one pump. I need 2 pumps. And the amount of lactation, the amount of pumping that I have to do to lactate is going to require a better pump than what I got. I mean, I have electric pump, but I need the 2 of them, and I need them where they're more compact. And I'm going to start a GoFundMe. I need some help. Or if anybody's got one, they want to donate, please put it in the comment. I need a good one. One that links up to the phone where it's more discreet, because I'm going to have to pump a lot. And that means I'm going to be running around out on the streets pumping too. This is something I want to do. I would love to help a family, that can't breastfeed and does want the milk and has the option to have transgender milk.
Sad state of affairs that we are in here in the United States in 2023, because mothers of infants are now going to have to screen milk that's offered to them as breast milk, milk that's offered to them as labeled as breast milk. Y'all women best be double checking to make sure if you are supplementing with somebody else's breast milk because you can't produce, maybe you're struggling, you better be vetting that milk.
Let's hope that I produce enough. That depends on, I guess, on how much I eat and all of this other stuff. I've done quite a bit of my own homework. I will be getting with a lactation coach and going from there. And I will be documenting all this stuff. So as soon as I get my GoFundMe set up, I will be posting it in my little section. And you can hit on the link and then just, help me out. But yeah, if someone could just get me the pump, that'd be even better. Or else I'm going to have to try to save and do what I can with one pump, but I will do whatever it takes. But I will document all of this. We've done the homework. There's nothing. There's no doctors, nothing that has any experience with a transgender wanting to lactate.
Point of correction. There are 0 doctors in the world who have ever met or treated a transgender human being. Why do I say that? Well, because there's no such thing as a transgender human being. And any doctor who says that I am wrong, they are not to be trusted.
I am a pioneer at this. And I'm going to document it and share my experience with you guys. So, follow me. All my videos from now on are going to be about me and my lactation.
Now, I scrolled through his TikTok account briefly when I was looking him up, and I found one of his videos where it shows himself prior to his gender delusion. Take a gander.
Son, you know, once you start, there's no going back.
I know.
That is really sad. These people who are deluded, they need prayer. They need to be delivered from the demonic forces that are tempting them to do these things to themselves, especially to the kids. It is bad enough that so many progressives and liberals are chemically and surgically mutilating kids after confusing them into gender delusion. But this particular act, it takes child abuse one step further. This breastfeeding. These men are dosing with hormones to purposely secrete this substance from their chests. It's just plain gross, and it's just plain evil. It should be denounced straight up. I got into some discussions with people on Twitter back in May regarding this subject when they were defending one of these guys for wanting to breastfeed babies. One person claimed to me that it's normal for a baby to feed from the chest of a man because men have mammary glands too. But let's just do a basic review of a couple of words just so we're clear on this topic. So what is the definition of mammal? According to Britannica.com, the very first sentence in the definition describes it perfectly clear. It says that a mammal is any member of the group of vertebrate animals in which the young are nourished with milk from special mammary glands of the mother. Can't get any more clear than that. No males are necessary to produce the milk for the infants. So since milk comes from the mother, we should probably also know what the definition of mother is. We can take a quick gander at the Cambridge Dictionary, and it says mother is a female parent. So, milk for babies comes from the mother, which is a female parent. Again, no men are needed, no fathers are needed to produce milk for babies. They will never be needed to produce milk for babies. They can go get formula like normal dads if they want to feed babies. Feed them with a bottle after you mix it up. So it seems that at least these definitions still offer a bit of sanity. But will liberals listen and help us save kids? We can hope and pray. Emphasis on pray because ultimately the source of these evils are indeed demonic. Our biggest target in the socio-cultural and political battle is our government. When even our own government backs this sort of abuse, it's time for us to alter it. The CDC is way corrupt. The CDC is way corrupt if you haven't already figured that out. COVID shot mandates, them linking users to child groomer chat websites, and now this stuff. On their page about breastfeeding, it now says, can transgender parents who have had breast surgery breastfeed or chest feed their infants? See, now they're using that word as actual medical terminology, chest feed. And then it goes on to say, yes, some transgender parents who have had breast/top surgery may wish to breastfeed or chest feed. And then in parentheses, they try to justify their use of the word chest feed, a term used by some transgender and non-binary parents. They're infants. So healthcare providers working with these families should be familiar with medical, emotional, and social aspects of gender transitions to provide optimal family-centered care and meet the nutritional needs of the infant. Well, I'll keep saying it. If healthcare providers are doing their jobs, if doctors are doing their jobs to first do no harm, they would actually not allow any of this to happen. They wouldn't have even allowed the CDC to put this on the website if doctors around the country were doing their jobs. But all of this, as much as I'm frustrated and angry at the abuse that's happening to kids, because it's likely going to cause a cycle of repeated abuse when these kids are traumatized by this stuff. Not just the babies, but of course school-age kids and teenagers. But as much as I'm angry about that, the fact that that's happening, I still have to remember to have compassion on these people. We all should have compassion on these people. They are sick in the head. We must maintain our humanity and remember that these people need help. And we need to speak out in prayer. We need to speak out in prayer and ask God to deliver these people from these delusions, to deliver them from the spirits that have lied to them, and that God would open their eyes, and that God would send men and women into their lives that would speak truth to them. The scripture says that life and death is in the power of the tongue. We have life-giving power with our tongues, with our very tongue. When we speak truth to people, we are speaking life to them. Literally. Truth gives life. Lies brings death. Lies causes these people to fall prey to this nonsense. When we come face to face with those who have lied to these deluded men and led them down this path of self-harm, where they started taking these hormones or maybe had surgeries, when you come face to face with these people, we have to be willing to call them out on their lies when we catch them in them. When they try to use female pronouns for men and male pronouns for women, when they try to make us think we are the crazy ones, we need to bring conversations back to reality. No, I do not accept the premise of transgenderism. I don't accept it. It's not possible for anybody to change their gender. I will never accept it. Ultimately, just by virtue of being fellow human beings, we have a responsibility to tell the truth. And especially Christians, we have a responsibility to tell the truth at all times. Because we know that the lives of other people, children, adults, elderly, they depend upon us telling the truth. As Scripture says, ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. The truth is Jesus Christ. And the truth is that he came to seek and to save that which was lost. I hope you all enjoyed this video. And just to remind you all, be bold as lions.